the leading causes for stress in students?
In the counseling center right now, the leading causes, it's a whole variety of things. So if I can say academic issues, financial issues, relational issues, family issues, you name it, there's a whole gamut of things. But what we're seeing more and more right now is mental health issues on the rise, and that's something that we're really taking seriously. I don't know if it's going to get any better, but certainly we've noticed even in this semester the mental health issues were probably dominant in terms of what we've been dealing with. But we get a whole array of stuff.
Alrighty, and what are the best methods to relieve?
Okay, there's tons of stuff. Well, obviously me being a counselor, just talking about it, number one, getting help. And one of the things that we really encourage students to do is come into the counseling department, meet up with a counselor, and start really reframing some of the things that they're going through. So some of the methods that we talk about is through talk therapy, or let's just say psychotherapy. And I'm not saying that we're doing deep psychotherapy. What we are trying to do is solution focus type of methods, so that instead of us focusing on the problems, we try to focus on the solutions to the problems, so being more solution focused. Other methods too, really, there's so many different kinds of interventions. Number one, go see a health professional, whether it's your doctor or psychiatrist. Medication may be something that they may want to see if it might help. But more importantly, I think just coming and having a better understanding of what's causing the stresses really does help them to have a different mindset. And for me, I'm a big believer in, if there's anything causing you stress, find out what it is and detach yourself from it. So whether it's stressful friends or stressful situations, or even certain things that may cause someone not to have hope, we try to reframe it and help them to see that there is a way out of the place that they're stuck in. So really identifying what are the major stresses and how to deal with that. And those are some of the things that we like to talk about. So even time management might be a big thing. A lot of students come in, and biggest stressors for them is that just because they've come into a whole new academic setting from high school, they don't know how to handle the freedom, they don't know how to handle the stresses of their academic life, coupled in with social issues and financial issues, and if it's mental health too, I mean, they get a whole array of stuff. So yeah, those are some of the methods.
Okay, so what health-related problems are caused by stress?
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, I've heard from a doctor, a friend of mine who's an emergency physician. He said that sometimes in walk-in clinics, about 80% of the patients that come in for health-related issues, but 80% it's caused by stress. So and I'll ask, well, like, what type of ailments do you diagnose here, or what are some of the symptoms? And he says, obesity is one. Heart diseases, also just addiction-related things where they're using chemicals to really deal with their stress level. And one of the things that they're keep focusing on is there's a high level of their immune system breaking down because of stress level. So they may not be sleeping much, they may not be eating right, and so when the immune system goes down, I mean, you're prone to catching anything out there. So things of that nature.
What advice would you give to students dealing with stress?
Okay, so one of the things that I would say is, number one, I would encourage them, what are other things that they're doing to add to the stress? So like high caffeine use or being addicted to chemicals. I think these are the contributing factors for them to not deal with it constructively or in a healthy manner, but more in a destructive manner. So number one, are they on chemical dependencies that's heightening their stress level? So we'll tackle that. Are there areas where they have the power to change, but they're not, and they're allowing their stress level to just mountain over, each situation because they're not dealing with it in a healthy manner? So we try to look at each part of their lifestyle, see where they're going wrong, what are some of the things that they have the power to change. And as I said before, I'm a huge believer in, if you can look at some of the issues that you're going through in a different light, let's just say with an optimistic view, thus begins, hopeful methods for students to really have some sort of intervention, And like I said, have you seen your doctor for certain things? Have you considered other therapeutic measures out there? And we farm a lot of students out into the community as well.
So how do counselors at Sheridan help students dealing with depression and stress?
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, depression is not, let's say, there's this whole negative stigma where they say that, you know what, suck it up. It's the weakness in your personality or your character so that you can't deal with certain situations. One of the things that we validate someone that comes in with depression or, let's say, has been clinically diagnosed with depression, it's a disease. So it's almost like saying to someone with depression, or sorry, not with depression, but let's say a heart disease or diabetes. Suck it up and get over it. You can't. It's a disease that you need certain interventions, right? So number one, we try to really locate exactly what type of depression someone has, and there are, like, for instance, major depressive disorder, which is a serious type of depression, which can be really crippling. Students may not want to get out of bed. They may not want to do anything rather than just stay in that contained element. And then there's a depression called dysthymia, which is a little bit not as serious, but still can be crippling. Or like bipolar disorder, which is, related. So we like to really locate exactly what type of depression that they have. And then from there, medication is a big intervention because chemically they're off. With chemicals, we try to balance that back. But the second phase is get them back in. Let's talk about the areas that you want to work through, because don't forget, sometimes circumstances in your life can mount or just even heighten the depression. And so we'd like to offer a lot of counseling, support, talk therapy, empower them, try to let them know that there are a lot of balances in your health and lifestyle that can really help fight this disease. And so more psychoeducational awareness to students so that they have the information to equip themselves to really deal with this. And at Student Services, we're really focused on student success. So to educate them with whatever they're going through, and then helping them through being there as counselors, it really starts the procedure to maybe a better day and a brighter day. So those are some of the things.
Do you see a difference in between like first years and second years and stuff?
Yes, I do. But you know what? For different issues, first year students, I find that, hey, we're free from our parents. You know what? No limitations. We're free. So I find that I see a lot of students crashing in the middle of the semester because they've partied too much or they haven't been focusing on their studies. They intend to do well, but there are so many new things that they're encountering and that they get themselves involved in, sometimes destructive things. I once heard a client of mine saying, one of the students, you know what, living in residence is just like a big summer camp, and they're like partying with each other. They go upstairs, downstairs, and in each other's rooms. And for them to really stay focused academically, it's been really hard. So those are first year students. And then when they get that notice, okay, you're not doing well academically, sometimes it's too late because they've left things right to the end, and then they start pressuring themselves. And those are the common things that we see. Second year students, we see there's more of this, okay, I don't know if I'm in the right program. I've been in it second year. It might be a 4-year program or a 3-year. And, they're trying to decide, how am I going to sort of, finish the program. And then also, second year students too, they sometimes get attached to different things, which could be destructive or harmful. And so it affects their second year. They may have had a great first year, but too much work and no play causes them to play more in the second year. Yeah. Then it's a second year that becomes problematic. So different, really different.
What do you say to like students who come in stressed because like other group members aren't pulling their weight and stuff like that? Do you have advice?
That's a good question. That's called group work. Yeah. We see so many students coming in here because they can't stand getting the same grade when they put in 90% of the work and their, you know, co-peers have only put in 20% of the work. They feel that they're carrying the load where the others aren't, and it's not fair that they get the same grade. You know, so let's say someone who put in a lot of work gets an A and someone who put in not much gets an A2. There's that sense of injustice. So that's one problem. But you know what the bigger problem is? Learning to deal with each other's different personality types. And there's a leader, there's a follower, or there could be like too many leaders, not enough followers. And so there's this personality conflict that goes on, and then everybody decides, you know what, I don't want to work with you. Thus begins this stressful, what do I do? And so learning to sort of be cohesive and to work collaboratively together, it's a big change for students. And that's what we teach at Sheridan too, is, you know what, it doesn't mean that that gives you an excuse to do it on your own. Work together, because what's going to happen if you work, you know, in the real environment? No one's going to say, okay, be a maverick or do it solo. Work together. Yeah.
So what are some simple tips students can do at home if feeling stressed, like different environments they can work in?
Okay, really simple. Get sleep, okay? At the college system or even university or the post-secondary, sleep is so crucial. You don't sleep, you're not going to function the next day. I know 8 o'clock classes are really challenging, but you just have to change your behavior and your pattern. Get like 8 hours or 7 hours at least. The lack of sleep, I'd say, is within your control. But a lot of times, young people are so, you know, they're feeling energetic, they feel invincible, and you know, infallible, so they stay up till like 4, 5 in the morning thinking that they can go to 8 o'clock class only to drift off or sleep in late. So sleeping is really one thing. Reduce the chemical use. Right now, you know, smoking marijuana is like more popular than smoking cigarettes. So reduce the chemical intake, reduce the alcohol intake, eat properly, balance your life, and that's going to give you a really, really good start to staying focused, because half of the issues that students go through are just what I've just said. All those things are not really paid attention to, which will affect them. Very simple.